I used to fish. This was back in the mid 1980s. I knew an old bass angler. He was 87 years old, and we used to float. There's a creek down by Joplin, Missouri, named Shoal Creek, and we used to float Shoal Creek together in a flat bottom boat, and like a 14-foot flat bottom. And the only bait that he fished, his name was Joe, and the only bait that Joe fished was a black wood chopper. Now, a wood chopper, if you don't know what it is, it's a prop lure. It's an old wooden prop lure. It's been around forever. But one of the things that I learned from Joe that he taught me is how important cadence is on a topwater lure in terms of really understanding the mood and the personality of the fish and matching the cadence to that topwater in order to get the strike out of it. Now, in Joe's situation, in the creek that we were fishing, one of the things he was teaching me is that when you throw your topwater out there, you have got to work the bait, maybe a foot or so, and then you've got to let it set still until the ripples completely dissipate around it. Because what his theory was that when you jerk a topwater lure like a popper or a prop bait or something like that, it gets the attention of the bass, but a lot of times it'll get the attention of the bass, but they won't bite it. They'll just come up and look at it. And if you let it sit there until the ripples dissipate, and sometimes, once the ripples dissipate, the bait will start floating a little bit slow like that, almost like it's dead or wounded. And then he thinks the bass will sit there and look at it, and then you just give it one little tiny twitch, and they come up and hammer it. And I don't know how many good fish he caught doing that. I mean, when we would float, he'd throw that thing up underneath like overhanging trees and shady spots, and that's how he'd work it. And he wound up catching a bunch of good fish right in front of me, with that particular technique, so I got no reason to doubt him. So you can apply this same type of logic to any topwater lure out there. It doesn't matter if it's a buzz bait or a whopper plopper or a walking topwater or a wake bait or anything out there. You have got to figure out the cadence and retrieve that fish wants. Now, one of the things that I found out about it, as far as cadence and retrieve on a topwater, a lot of it has to do with the water clarity more than anything else, even more so than the water temperature. In general, what I have found in my own fishing is that the more off-colored the water is, the more stained it is, the slower that you got to work your topwater. It gives them a chance to find it. If you work a topwater lure fast in dirtier water, I just have never been able to catch many fish on it. So I sort of have like a system that if the water visibility is like less than 1.5 feet where I'm fishing, I work my topwater lures pretty slow.